All right, so the last thing I did, I just noticed this. Just continuing right along, I put the components array in the wrong place. But let me explain what this does, and just try to understand this as best you can if you're not a programmer. With this, if you've been watching these videos, you've seen me make SQL queries constantly. So this is just querying the database. And what this does with this join statements, it pulls a bunch of stuff from a bunch of tables that are related. So the master users table has a field called user ID that matches the post. The post table has a user ID, and these user IDs are the same. And that's why when here I got master users user ID, and then post ID. That's because the post components table has a post ID, and so does the post. And it's kind of an arbitrary decision what to pick in a lot of cases because they match. Okay, these tables are connected, and this way where they're connected like this on these separate tables instead of having everything on one big monster-sized table. This is ideal for the purposes of analysis. But getting back, so I query the database, and the result of my query is stored in this post variable. I have this fetch all. Okay, it stores all of the results. So in other words, I go to my SQL editor here. Okay, this is an absolute gnarly looking at a select statement when I copy this over. We'll try this. Okay, all of my results. This is what gets stored in that post variable. All of these results. Now, if I remove this where clause, you'll see that I'll get a whole bunch. That's what we're eventually going to do. What we're doing is we're going to make this work for one post, and then we'll select all the posts. Okay, but this right here, this whole table here, once we remove the post ID parameter, will be stored in this post variable. Okay, and so when I have these posts as key posts, what I'm doing is I'm looping through each row one at a time. Okay, so every one of these rows I'm looping through, and so the key can be thought of as a row, and then the post is the data. Okay, the post is the data, and so I've got username, I've got profile photo. That's all stored in the post. So I could, for instance, on this, I could have I'll have it print out post username. Okay, and you'll see how this username matches the row of the database table. So username, and I could do the same thing with the rest of these. I can get posts. Post reactions image, for instance. Okay. So here, when I echo these out, you will see. Okay, I got to define variable components. But here's the name, here's the username, and here's the post ID. And because these posts, some of them have multiple components, we've got duplicates of some of these. So the posts that only have one component, we've only got one username, one profile photo, etc. The one that have multiple components, the way this works, it pulls up their name, and it pulls up the user ID, username, profile photo, profile link, post ID, all this. It pulls it up, all of this up each time that there's a new component. So if it pulls up, if there are 3 components, it'll pull up all these variables 3 times, all these database fields 3 times. And if there's one component, it'll pull it 1 time. If there's 2, it'll pull it 2 times. And that's why we're pulling this post. It's got 2 components. It does it duplicatively. Okay, and so but that's our post variable. I'll erase this. And this post array, what this is for is this post where the data is stored. You can think of this as an array. Is basically what this is. Okay, this is an array, and we're making a new array with this what we call post array. We just make a variable named post array, and we'll put these brackets. We make it an array because we're gonna format this data and store it in a new array that doesn't have duplicates of everything. That's what we're gonna do. Now this vars, what this does is this creates an array. Okay, I'm creating an array called vars that looks like I got this comps array. Okay, and what I'm doing here with this vars is I'm creating an array that looks like this. User name. Sorry, I missed out. I did this backwards, but you get the idea. User ID, profile, photo, etc. I'm creating an array that does that. But because I'm lazy and I don't like to type, I'm doing it the long way around. I copy and paste these fields here, and then this explode function creates an array based on where the commas are at. Okay, and so what and here I'll show you. I'll show you here. This is a function that I made. It's an array print function, and this will show you what this vars array looks like. Actually, I'll say here. Right, and I'll show you what I'm doing here with this. So here's the vars, okay? And actually I can go ahead and use this actually. I can use this in my code in place of this. Okay, so what I'm doing with this, the result of these two functions right here is to create an array that looks like this. Okay? And we'll go ahead and erase this because now we can use our array instead. We can use that array. And what this does is this is another thing. Actually, I got to do this down here actually. After I've trimmed these because it's still got spaces. We'll get rid of all this. If you notice here, we've got spaces in our array. Let's take out the spaces. So here we've got our vars array, and we can get rid of all this. So here, see how there's a space here? There's white space, like this. When I put this new one on here, there's no white space. Okay, so we'll get rid of all this. And now we can just use the vars array, but that was the point of those two steps, was me trying to get around having to type all this. Okay, and so this post array, we're going to store our new data. We got a component and an items. Okay, and so what this is going to do is it's going to store the items, which the items are this: user ID, username, profile photo, profile link, post ID, post reactions image, post date, all of this. When I do this, vars items, var equals post var. And I'm just making an items array. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this an object. Let's do this. But here, like for instance, I can print this items array here. Or actually, I'll do an array print. This is a function I made to print arrays. Echo. Okay, and you'll see here, here's the items array for, whoa, items array, items var equals post var. This is not coming out the way that I want it to. Items array print. Okay, I gotta do my array print for array print. assoc, I think is what I got here, a function for this. Undefined function assoc. Okay, I gotta pull this over here and find my function. Okay, so sorry, assoc array print. Okay, so here's what this looks like. And this is going to be massive here. I'm going to start a new file. This is going to be massive, but this is what this is going to look like. Items is going to have all of this data like this. And okay, I'm not sure what this is that's causing this. But this is what this is going to look like. So it's got user ID, username. Okay, and my assoc function is, it looks like that it's doing a double take here. Okay, what the hell is going on here? Okay, I was looking at that here. I'm going to find out a key. Okay, I see. I've got an extra dot in there. Let's fix that. You see here it's constant debugging. So let me get this back over here. Get my helpers file. Okay. So we'll go back over here. We should have it worked good. That works good. Okay, so this is what this is going to look like. And we'll have one of these for everybody. Okay, that's the items array. And see, the thing is the items, and so we'll actually have here, what we'll do is we'll say if okay, because we're going to have 2 copies of every item, So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a check to see if the items have already been set. Okay, and if they haven't, we're going to set them. If they have, we're going to leave them, and then we're going to have multiple components. And so then we're going to have a component. Components. So we have for each comps as comp components comp equals posts comp. Okay, and then we'll have this there. Okay, so to go back, we've got an items array that's got the user ID, profile link, post reaction. Okay, these are all the things that are going to be the same every single time. Okay, so every single time these items are going to be the same. And so in this code right here, we get the items var. Okay, we go through vars, and each one of these vars is going to be post var. So what this says is items var, so items user ID equals post user ID, items username equals post username, items profile photo equals post profile photo, items profile link equals post profile link, and so on. Okay, and those are going to be the same every time. So we're not going to load those but once. So this function, this if set, what this is this checks, have we already set the post array post ID items? If they're already set, we're going to skip them. Okay, but if they're not, this exclam, this not means if they're not set. Okay, so we're asking if this is not set, then we're going to do this. Okay, so this is if the post ID, the post array for this post ID, if those items are not set, we're going to set the items. Okay, that's what we're saying. We're going to set the items, and here we set the items. Okay, so you got post ID, post array. Okay, and actually I can show you here. We'll do an array print for we will do an array print for this post ID array. Post array. Post array. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're printing out this variable. As in, we're printing it out like it would look if we hand coded this. Okay, and then we're going to have. Okay, actually, sorry, we did something wrong here. And what I did is I printed the full array instead of the items. Okay, so the items is going to be one of this array. But here we'll print out the items this time. Okay, now what the hell? Okay, actually this is we're going to have to get this back here. This is an object. Okay, so I'm taking off this object tag temporarily. Putting this back on the server. We're going to do it again. Okay, what the hell is this? Okay, what we're going to do here. Okay, we're doing something wrong here and I can't figure out. Let me just print out this whole array. Oh, wait a minute, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. I left out the post ID. Okay, and so here we've got a new script here. When I add this post ID, this should fix it. So we'll put this to the server. Okay, and there we go, post ID, array items. And you'll see here that these items get transferred to the post array under the items key. So the post array, and it's actually under the post. Let me get this fixed here. Okay, so that's what this looks like. Okay, and what we'll do is we will load the components, and then I'll print both of those. Okay, post ID components equals components. And so now let's get this. Let's do a new line. And all that does is add a line break. Errors because I use that little name. I need to use a variable. Okay, so I should have a category of image and a category. So here's here I got M components. These M components. Okay. So here you'll see here that we've got our components. For this post ID right here, we've got we got an image component. We should have a text component. Okay, let me see here. And actually, what I've got to do here, I've got to make this an array here. And what we're going to actually have to do here printing out this component as an array itself. Okay, so I'm going to skip this. Okay, I'm probably losing people here, but I'm going to get rid of these printouts here. But you kind of see what we're doing thus far, I think, or at least I hope you've got some idea that we create these variables, which is an array. An array is like a collection of values that are related to one another somehow. Okay, and then the relationship with all these values in this is that they all belong to the same database output. The relation to these is that they all come from the same database query output as well. But they're grouped separately because they're unique to the post components table. Okay, so every user ID, we're only going to have one user ID for every user, and so we don't need to separate those, from the rest of this. We're only going to have one username, one profile photo, etc. We'll only have one post ID. But when you bring in these post components, these you're going to have multiple of, and that's why we separate those. So we create a collection of values for all these vars, and we store that in the items for each post. We store that in the items key here. And we'll put back in my object tag, and all this object tag does. I'll explain what the object tag does in a second when we get further down here. Okay. We'll actually have this be an object too. So here, actually, what we can do now, we've arranged a post array for this one single post. Okay, so we store the items because they're all the same. The components, there are more than one component. So what we do here is we make a sub array to store multiple components. What we're saying here is the post ID, the post array, post ID items key. So that's the key of this array. Is the post ID and the items are the key. That key gets the items array. Okay. Now what we're saying here, and actually, I think we've got to do here is we got to do this to declare this an array. I think we got to declare that array. But skipping that, so now we've got the post ID components array key is an array itself. Okay, because remember, an array is a collection of values that are related, and with these category components, in some cases, we have more than one component. We have an image, or we have an image, and we have a text. Okay, or we have text. We have multiple images. We have multiple images and no text. Okay, so we have those as a collection. And I want to try this here. I think I've got to declare an array. What I mean here, when I say declare, I've got to say post ID array, post ID equals. I got to do this, and we'll go ahead and do it just for the sake of doing it. There's no harm in doing it. Here, though, I can do this. I can say for each post array, okay, and as key value, okay, because an array has keys and values. Okay, so again, we've got a key here, and we've got a value, and the key in this case is the post ID. Okay, so here, if I do this, and I want this new line, what this does, this will print it out. This will echo the value out and create a new line at the same time. What this does, a new line key, and you will see here that we should have a singular output of a post ID. That's what I think we should get, is just one single post ID. For this post ID right here, we'll have for the key. Okay, there's the key. So we could say post ID is key. Okay, now we've got an array within this called items. Okay, so we could say echo items. Okay, post ID items for post ID key are, have this. We'll put a colon here. And we'll have our value items. Okay, so here you see we've got all of our items. And now this one, I add an object. Let me show you what that is. What we'll do is we're going to now, because remember this value is an array itself. So the post ID, the key is the post ID. The value is everything tied to that post ID. So the value consists as an array that has an items key and a components key. Okay, and so there we just printed out the value items. What we're going to do now is we're going to loop through the items. Instead of printing them out like that, we're going to loop through the items. So now we'll have for each value items as, and we've already got keys, so we'll say K. And we'll say items key to be clear. Key as items value. Okay, and we're just arbitrarily giving these names that when you have a for each, whatever you put here represents the key. Whatever here you put represents the value of the array. And you could have post ID items key is items value. Actually, wait a minute, is that right? Items key, that's right. That's right. I think this is right. I'm getting an error somewhere. Got it. Post ID, username, I just gotta put the post ID here. Okay, and I'll put this on here again, and I'll pause for a second. I'll let this set here for a second. So you might want to stop if you got a pause button if you're trying to understand this. Okay, but here we're storing all these values. So the post ID for the username for post ID is this. Okay, you can pause that on the video if you got to go over that and try to follow what we're doing. And what I was saying about the object, the only difference between an object for what we're doing here, putting this object tag is how we access the values. Okay, so I could say with the object tag, I say echo value, and all this echo does is puts it on the screen, value user name. Now put a new line. Okay, so here we should just put out the username one time. Okay, what's this? Value items. Okay, see there is that. Okay, now the only difference is when I've got an object, I access it with the arrow key, and if I got an array, so here I can take away this object tag, and now it's going to give me an error. If I could get this deleted. Okay, I'm just going to up here equals, and I just have plain items. Now it's going to tell me that I'm accessing an invalid value of a standard user class. I'm trying to read a standard user class on an array. Okay, read property username. And so what I would do to access this is I would do it like this. So items / user with an arrow username, and I would access it like this. Okay, so that's the difference there, and I'm going to go ahead. I like the object better. Okay, that's how that works. Now, it looks like we've got this working the way that we want to. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to add one more change. I'm going to have value equals objects value. Okay, so now we will have value items username. This should still work. Yep, nothing's changed. We're still outputting. Okay, so now in the next video, we've got our array built. We've built out one, and we'll remove this post ID parameter, and we'll build out every single one of them. We'll have this array from now on. This process of building this array, it's automated, and we'll get to the part where we dynamically generate HTML from the database, and you'll see how that works.